On this note, once again, a warm welcome to all of you, and let's start off with the webinar right now. First of all, a little note about my company. Although almost all of you know us, but just in case you don't, I'll run you through it. Our company's name is Excel Pro Training Solutions Private Limited, and our expertise is primarily in corporate e-learning, as you know. In corporate e-learning, we provide solutions in gamified learning, game-based learning, animation-based interactive learning, and blended learning. So basically, if there is a learning need, we've got a solution to address it for you. Any e-learning requirement. And specifically, our strength, our biggest capability is to develop gamified and e-learning solutions for companies across diverse sectors. It doesn't matter which sector you're from. You might be from pharma, you might be from chemicals, banking, any sector. We have the capability to deliver solutions as per your requirement. Currently, we are based in Bangalore and Mumbai, and with God's grace, we'll have more locations coming up in this year, and we are working towards it. So probably by the time I do the next webinar with you, I might be adding a few more locations in our business as such. That was a little brief about us. So we're going to start off with what is Gamified Induction. Before that, I'm going to take a quick poll, basically a poll, to get you acquainted with one more feature of our system. So let's take a look at it. So I'm going to ask you a simple question. How is the induction program currently taken care of, or how do you do induction programs? So I'm launching this poll. You need to answer it using your mouse over there, click through, take your time, you take a minute on it. Okay, some of you voted, some of you are voting. Very good. Okay, voting in progress. Take your time, be comfortable. The question is very simple. We're doing a little poll in terms of how is your current induction program running. Some of you are joining in. I'm getting some texts on hi. Hi to all of you. Welcome you on board. Go ahead. 73% of you voted. Few more are yet to vote. That's good. We are crossing 86% right now. I think most of you are warming up to the poll. Okay, Sumita, I just need to click on the thing and I'll get your answer here. Great, almost 90%. And at this note, I'll give another 5 seconds and close the poll just so that we don't lose much time on it. Fantastic. I think almost all of you voted right now. Great going. So I close the poll. Fantastic. We got some interesting results here, or rather very interesting results, or a scary result, I should say. Uh, I'll share this with you. It's more interesting. This is how it looks. As you can see on your screen right now, 86% of you said you got classroom-based in-person induction, 17% of you are into e-induction, 14% of you into other types of induction which are not necessarily e or classroom, but maybe blended or a combination or on-the-job induction or maybe no induction. And in today's webinar, we got a 0% gamify induction. Okay, that is a very good motivator for me and to you also to get started. So what I'll do is, since you're not into gamify induction, we'll cover the basics as well. The reason for this poll was in case most of you are in gamify induction, you would go to the advanced elements. We'll cover basics too. And we got diverse mix. So have any queries, feel free to ask me at any point of time. So on that note, we go back to our points here. My screen is visible for you. Great. So what is Gamify Induction? The jargon is fantastic, looks good, nice to talk about, good to yap about. The whole point is that it is simply an application of game mechanics to induction programs to make them enjoyable and engaging. That is the whole funda. Simple sentence, but very heavily loaded. We need to give attention to two aspects here. One is enjoyable and engaging. So what I believe strongly is what you can't enjoy, you can never learn. If I don't enjoy cooking, I can never learn cooking as the way the learn has to be. Gadha Mazduri, we say it is fine. Like, no, you have to do it, you have to eat your food, so you cook something. But it'll never be a passionate stuff. So if you have to make learning enjoyable, if you make learning enjoyable, the the learning aspect also automatically increases. Engaging is basically how engaged the person is in terms of कितना ध्यान लगा के काम कर रहा है, कितना मन लगा के काम कर रहा है, और the application is of what level. So the more a person is engaged, the more a person puts his mind and body into action, and results are automatically there for all of us to see. So whenever I look at people fiddling with their mobile phones on the airport terminals, I said, wow, the mobile phone companies have got something which I would yearn for, engaging and enjoying. But what I will be very keen to know is how much of learning is happening over there playing Angry Birds. No questions or no answers on that. The point is, apart from enjoying and engaging, learning is extremely important. So what we do is we take any normal business process, any process, could be how a chemical is manufactured, could be how an automobile is assembled, could be how a company has come up in the years, could be anything. What is normally required to be learned, we take it in front of us and we put gaming mechanics into it. So what are gaming mechanics? Simple stuff like rewards, assessments, progress charts, instant feedback, leaderboards, all this stuff, and there are 100 more like that. We put these gaming mechanisms into it, and then what we do, bingo, it turns into a gamified learning module. But there's a big but to it. If you take a brain, if you take a heart, if you put some bones together, put some skin and put some muscle and say, come on, walk. Will the person walk? No way. The person cannot walk. You put everybody together, it will be like operation success, patient died. Similarly, putting all this stuff together doesn't work as long as you don't put your heart into it, you don't give life to it. So, how does a gamified induction or a gamified learning process get a life? It gets a life when we put a theme or a concept which makes the person feel very wow to even start interacting with it. So, subconsciously, a person enjoys the experience, and that is why a theme coupled with mechanics and the learning element, the backdrop, turns into a gamified learning process. And when we apply this onto induction, it becomes gamified induction. That's simple. So why gamify induction? All this circus is great, but why should we do it? First thing is it directly bang on focuses on the learning effectiveness of aspects like if you have to communicate the basic information about the company. We started about 120 years ago by said so and so, then his son took over, then his son took over, then we got into Germany, we got to London. Today the guy says, look, I'm going to stay with you for 2 years or maybe 1 year, so give me a break, let me go ahead. No, we don't want him to do that. We want him to learn about us, learn about our culture, learn about a host of things. When I want to learn and enjoy the learning, gamifying helps us do it because he will remember and recall. Now, filling up employment forms, which is one of the most mundane and boring process for very in every induction program, and sometimes if any of you have actually worked with any bank or any of this bodies like that, you would know there's a full pre-printed docket given to you. Yes, it's good, but how many of us enjoy filling it? We don't. Because we don't enjoy it, how many mistakes we make in it? Ask the PF consultant, he'll tell you what kind of a hell he goes through in terms of taking forms to PF office, coming back with all those mistakes and again getting them refilled, so on and so forth. And I've seen people filling even their account numbers wrong. It's very funny, but that's the way it is. So if you gamify the process, the very element of doing a mundane task becomes interesting because you're trying to achieve something out of it. Learning about key people, products, and locations. Now, if I tell you we are based in Bangalore and Bombay, you'll say, okay, fine, what, which city, what location, and after half an hour, you'll forget about it. But if I give you a gamified mechanism to it, so find out where is Excel to locate it on the screen, quick, and I give you a timer, I give you a reward, and I make some stuff happening on there, and there's a Google Maps kind of a thing, some jing bang happening. So within 10 seconds, you'll point out the location, and for the next 6 years, you'll remember that, okay, there is Excel Pro in Bangalore and Bombay. So that is what we're talking about. Minimal effort, maximum impact by just bringing in a concept where is the person involved, putting his hand into it, and enjoying it. That is that simple. Going ahead. Last and most important, information and policies related to work and workplace. The funniest part is people, when they come to induction program, they're very keen to know, okay, fine, what are lunch hours, where's the cafeteria, and what's my leave policy? Ask anybody, did you understand what the superannuation policy is or what your gratuity policy is? No, they'll wake up only after 4.5 years. Let that not happen. Now, very simple things otherwise are routinely kept aside or bored to death during an induction program, those things can turn into something very, very interesting and engaging. The trick is how do I take a particular element and convert it into a gamified process? So, on this note, I'm going to ask you a very simple question, a very funny but a simple question. I think I made a poll on that also. Yes. Take a look at this and tell me what you think about it. It's a googly, be careful. The poll is on. You can click. Fantastic. Well, the results are coming here. It's I'm reminded of the KBC audience poll, because when the person needs the audience to help him, that's when the audience gives him very balanced score. 37%, 43%, and 22%. And now I have to make a decision. Luckily, I know the answer here. Almost 90% of you voted. We'll wait for the 10 more seconds. Cool. Done. Great. Now watch this. Very interesting. 40% of you say yes, gamified learning is same as game-based learning. 38% of you say no, it is not. So almost 50-50%. If I was to win a 1 crore in KBC by now, I'm finished. But luckily, it's not the case that way. 23% honestly say I don't know. I appreciate that. Well, it is a googly. Uh, Jargons. We live in the world of jargons, and most of you are from the L&D department. So you live, breathe, eat, sleep jargon most of your time, like most of us do. Because if we don't throw some jargon and take some jargon, we are treated like, okay, this guy doesn't know anything. Jokes apart, here is the result. I'm sharing results with you. 40, 38, 23. Sorry to disappoint the majority in this case, but gamified learning is not the same as game-based learning. There's a difference to it. Well, they are cousins, like most of us are. The cousins go this way. When you take a business process or any process, which is normally not a game, any usual process, could be a business, could be non-business, and apply game mechanics to it, then that becomes gamification of the process. Or when we bring that to learning, there's a learning requirement, and we gamify it, we apply game mechanics to it, that becomes gamified learning. Now, what is game based learning? Game based learning is when you use game as a mechanism to motivate or drive a person to do something. I'll tell you something very funny. A game we used to play as we were children. I come from a military school, which was rather at that point of time uh, a place where children who wanted to join the armed forces used to go there, and only boys used to be around boarding school. So during the games period in the evening, we used to have a lot of fun, play football, volleyball, all the stuff. But when time got over, we never used to want to leave the grounds. And then one smart cookie will say, last chap ladki. A guy who leaves last is a girl. And then you should see the kind of speed people pick up to run out of the very grounds which they were dying to play till that moment of time. So, what actually happened over there? There was a game based action where a competitive spirit was initiated for an action which we never intended to do. Did we learn something? No. But the whole point is that when we induce a spirit of competition to make people do an activity, that is basically game based. So you put a leaderboard. Like, I'll tell you something very interesting. In some of the departments these days, some of the companies where Salesforce is used, you get a leaderboard over there, and some companies actually put LCD screens with leaderboards on it. So the person is actually making a sale. Aaj mera itna hua, kal uska utna hua. They're pushing the numbers, and finally what they say is, okay, today I'm on top. Tomorrow somebody else is on top. My photo is coming up with a crown. So there is a competitive spirit. So when we put a game mechanism, not a mechanism, but turn it into a game, wherein the process is not affected. The process is same. You just win, lose, or compete. That will become game based. Gamified is when the mechanics are used for the process itself by inducing it into it. So these are two different aspects of uh, the concept: game-based learning and gamified learning. And at this juncture, I'll make a little statement. Be very clear about both of them. Do not confuse game-based learning to gamified learning. It could be detrimental, because game-based learning would be only applying simple mechanics. Gamified learning is getting too deep into it. And subsequently, we connect sometime. I'll take you deeper. Right now is not the moment for it. So we go forward. So why gamified induction? Akhir kyun? Why in the first place? First, better retention and recall. One of the reasons why we take up gamified induction is we want more retention and recall, because we are not happy with the way my people are carrying stuff back from the classroom. They're carrying files, big, thick files, binded, bound files, and God knows what else and whatnot, CDs, laptop with content, all stuff. But what are they carrying in their brain? God knows. We should know it. And recall. At the right time, are they able to recall what they've learned in induction, or are they turning into Karnastra? Karnastra, if you're following Mahabharat, are all the weapons the great Karn had, which at the right time of his judgment day, when his जब उसका life का time खत्म होने का है, he couldn't remember one mantra. None of the weapons came to his rescue. So we don't want Karnastra here. We want Arjunastras. Effective utilization of time. So if I'm giving some time to a person, is the person able to effectively utilize it, or time being wasted? Which means what? Simply put, if I'm talking about induction, and all of you would know good induction programs, as I would like to put it these days, go for at least 4 days, 5 days, 7 days. Some IT companies have got 21 days induction, pretty good. And I've sometimes wondered, and then what happens after induction? No points for guessing. But if he's put there for 21 days, the person better carry enough stuff. So utilization of time, cost effective. Now, when I say cost effective, you need to take into consideration the cost of getting people together, cost of putting a trainer in the room, cost of all those things, and the opportunity cost of the person not being there on the job, and most importantly, an opportunity cost of the person not learning properly and going on the job and figuring it out. Put all those things together, and bingo, you'll get a shock of your life. Next, high level of engaged involvement of the participant. Now, if currently a person is getting engaged and involved in a particular way, gamification enhances it. So when we talk about gamification, one, whatever your current levels of retention and recall are, if you're not happy or averagely happy, gamify it, you'll get higher retention and recall. Time, you don't need to put all of them in a classroom and bore them to death with lessons. Utilization of time is very effective. Why? Because here the person is dying to do what you ask him to do. Now, if you drag a person here, put in a classroom, tell him, look, I'll give you good lunch, I'll send you to a good party in the evening, so go through induction. That's okay. There's an incentive that's game based. But if I talk of gamified, the very aspect of involving in that particular session becomes very, very, very interesting for him, and he's dying to come there. Cost effective, of course, you invest one time in developing the gamified concept, and then there's nothing much to do. So pretty much cost effective. And engagement involvement, that is a DNA of gamification. If a game doesn't provide you that, there's no point in doing it. Trainer proof. Now this is one word even I love these days. Some of you, or rather all of you, might be trainers. Ever wondered what it takes to become a trainer in this world, rather in India today? You'll be surprised. I've got friends who want to go on ML, that's maternity leave, and say, okay, fine, I'm having a baby, I don't want to take a full-time job, let me become a trainer. A friend of mine, tired of his boss in HR, decided to become a trainer. Everybody I've seen, rather most of them, have become trainers for reasons other than wanting to do something for the people seriously. And so what we know is we might have trainers who are able to appeal to some section of audiences, maybe not all. So at that point of time, if I've got one good trainer in Chennai and I don't have a great trainer in Delhi, what happens is my Chennai team is very good, my Delhi team is not so good. So to avoid that, gamification helps. Wherever your people are, geography proof. So these are some of the common reasons why you should consider gamification. Because if you want retention, utilization of time, etc., etc., let there be a reason. If you don't have a reason, look, I got a fancy idea, somebody gave me a jargon, let me go and gamify it. Don't do that. You have to get the reason clear outright first. Last and most important, if you are having a problem with boring induction programs in spite of having a lot of effort put into it, then you should 100% consider gamifying it. Because if an induction program is boring, there is a problem to it. Retention recall is going to be very minimal. Retention minimal, recall minimal. You won't have a problem. The manager to whom this guy goes and reports to has a big time problem. Now, before we proceed further, I just want to give you a little hint here. Gamified induction is not just for employees, it is not just an employee driven thing. Of course, gamification is for any learning process. Now, you can have employees, you can have contract staff, you can have people who are like channel partners, you can have suppliers and vendors, clients, members, associates. In short, anybody who needs to know about your company in an enjoyable way, you can give them gamified induction or orientation. On that note, let me ask you a quick question. Again, of course, since most of you said in the beginning that your induction program is people based or it's more like a classroom based, what I would like to ask you is what is the prime reason you wish to have your induction program gamified? It's an opinion. Let's take a quick look. Poll is launched. Now it's your chance to click through. So let's understand what most of you would feel about the reasons for which you like to gamify your induction programs. Take your time, no hurry. We'll take a minute on it. Go through all the points thoroughly, think through and answer. We'll take a few more seconds. We're a little over a minute right now. I'll give you 10 more seconds for it. Okay, almost all of you have voted except one or two. I'll just give you another 5 more seconds. Cool. I think we are good. Great. So at this juncture, I close the poll and the results are really interesting. So I'll just share them with you. I think you can see the results here on the screen. Yeah, 70% of you say high level of engaged involvement, etc., and 23% say 23% votes for better retention and recall, 7% for effective utilization of time. Since there was a multiple options which you could choose, as you can see here, the direct impact which I'm seeing here as the need or the gap which you want to address and what gamification does is high level of engaged involvement by the participants, because that if you get that, everything else is almost on track. So your need and what gamification does are bang on target. So I think we're in good state. And retention, recall, and engaging, they're linked to each other. So pretty good. On that note, I'll release that. Okay. You could choose more than one. I think some places they might have a glitch, but otherwise we're good to go. Going ahead, I'll just share my screen once again. Yep, we're back. Everybody wants to do 1,000 things on gamification, but there's something called a budget, and there's something called a boss, and there's something called approval. When they're in the picture, all wishes become wish list. They come to a list and stay there. So before your wish becomes a wish list and you would like to take it up, you have to be clear what we're talking about. First and foremost, and the most important point is avoid making a better mousetrap. This is exactly why I ran you through a little poll right now. Be clear what you want. Avoid making a better mousetrap. What does it mean? It means if I'm one of the smart dudes who sees a rat in an office, what I do, I'm an IT office, what I would like to call the best of rodent technology specialist or some characters like that. And then I would like to have a very high sensitive infrared rodent detectors and rodent immobilizers. How does it sound? Fantastic. Well, all I'm doing is searching for a mouse trap. At the end of the day, I want the mouse caught, nothing else. I don't want the mouse to dance or wake up and walk out of my office, just get caught. If something about a 20 bucks can do it, with the 100% efficiency of what something that 10,000 bucks can do it, there's no point reinventing it. Similarly, if you say you want better retention and recall, and if you say you want better engagement, it's very important that you measure your current engagement levels. What exactly are the problems we're facing, and to what extent do you want to take it? And then the extent, current extent vis-a-vis the desired extent, and the gap. Are we in a position to clearly say, okay, this is the gap and it is worth addressing? If the gap is minuscule and you don't feel it's worth addressing, there's no point in it. So measurement is very important. Sorry, there's a typo here. One time development fee and periodic maintenance cost. Now what happens when we do a cost and benefit? So we'll start with, we assume or presume that you're not going to build a better mousetrap. You are very clear what you are doing right now and what results you want after gamifying it. So this is when you gamify, you will have a cost which you incur one time, which is basically looking up your process, getting the gamification thing in line, getting the company to develop it for you, working out, setting up server space, all the things are there. Not very costly, but there is some cost, a couple of lakhs or something that will be shelled out. It's a one-time fee. And there's a periodic maintenance cost, which is nothing but simply you want to modify something, your turnover has increased, change those things, a very minuscule periodic maintenance cost. You factor that in. And what benefits you get? Retention and recall. Can you tangibilize what exactly is the problem right now in terms of retention recall? This is what I want, but this is not happening. Application. We have told everybody how this thing is to be done. This is the business process, but people are not applying it. We have told them what the policies are, but people are not following them, etc. etc. Time and effort saved, very important, and minimal errors, like I gave the forms example, and so on and so forth. So clear distinction is important. Otherwise what happens, even if the results are achieved, you might not know them. So before gamifying it, engaging would do what would means would give me a better retention and recall or application in what lines. You have to get that right. That's what analysis is important. And finally what will come out is your per inductee cost allocation. In a year, how many employees are taken through an induction process? Divide the entire cost by those people, and the figures you come in a year or 2 years, assuming that your gamification process runs for some time, then you want to revamp it. Divide by that many people, and bingo, you will have a figure in front of you which your boss will be proud of. Now, this is the kind of analysis you need to carry to your management. If you yourself are not the management, to your management and say, look, this is what I'm going to talk about as a monetary expense, and this is the benefit and the monetization of the opportunity cost, and then you will see gamification approved. And if you are the management, if you are the boss with the signing authority, well, you know what to ask for and when to sanction your gamification budgets for induction. Last point I brought it on in the end is the intangible benefits. In most of the company these days, we have a very routine work, and we live a bland lives. Although the glass outside is beautiful, the life inside is miserable, living in cubicles. So gamification gives us a window to engage ourselves in a very interesting and virtual world. Recently, we made an F1 circuit for a client. We made an adventure circuit for somebody else. So you are actually experiencing something which you normally are not able to in your own cabin, and your management is approving it. We're happy that you're playing it, because the more you play, the more we win. So induction program similarly use a theme which appeals to your senses or is closer to your company's thought process, and it can be wonderful for you. Little more theory before we move on. Prerequisites: one, as somebody told me some time back, you cannot outsource a headache. If you have a lousy induction plan, if your policies are not in place, just because you're gamifying it, it doesn't become very good. Gamification is not a solution for that. Be clear about the fundamental reasons for opting for gamifying, which this little poll has told me that you are very clear about it. If you are the ones spearheading gamification in your organization, I'm very happy with you, because you're very clear about what you're saying. Define the approach best suited to your context, which means what? I'll gamify it, but what approach should I follow? What is the kind of a process I should take? Sorry, I'll just take it back. Right now, I've got so and so the modules in my induction program. So, do I do one module as a gamified, one module classroom, and one module as an e-learning? Do I try to do the entire thing gamified? What approach suits best is defined by what you want people to learn, and where are you finding the maximum gap. This is what we're going to cover. Next, this is something you have to pay a lot of attention to. A lot would mean a really lot. Different cadres of employees need to be inducted in different ways best suited for them. Now, you might be having general managers inducted, you might be having managers, executives, technical specialists, marketing specialists. So the same thing doesn't appeal to all. So if you are doing 100% gamify induction for a particular group, you might want to just use a couple of them for gamification for somebody else, and so on and so forth. So depending upon the kind of audience, the kind of learning gap we are facing, we can use a gamified module accordingly. And the game concept, like recently we did some work for a company where the requirement was the people joining in senior management level, the application of the concept, the gamification was very different, because a strategic thought process, a strategic game thought process was used. For people joining at the executive level are more tactical, something like what would use a Ferrari or a cricket or this kind of a game concept for use, or you're going to an adventure treasure hunt and stuff like that. Because the age group of one was around 22 to 28, the other was in the 40 45. Now our thought process changes. The kind of games which appeal to our senses, other game would mean the gaming concepts we're supposed to connect accordingly. Also, today it's very easy for you to gamify a module or do some work on it, and you can use a small API, and your scores can be shown on your Facebook, on your Twitter, and you can get accolades. So all these elements which give us rewards, we're supposed to use them if your company permits. Develop a clear induction plan and roadmap. If you're not clear about the induction plan or your roadmap is not clear, any amount of gamification cannot help you. What do you mean by it? A little question here. Let me take it right away. Oh, lovely. Amrita asks a question. The term retention used in the session is for employee retention or for the knowledge retention? Amrita, 100% we are talking of knowledge retention only, because it's an induction program. I'm only focusing upon retention of the learning, or I use the word aspects learned during the induction program. If something has been taught in the induction program, what is the level of retention and what is the level of recall? That's the only thing we're focusing upon. We are not trying to say gamify induction program to save your employees. I did some study on that, and there was some statistics I found out, but not contextual to us. Somebody mentioned that if people make a decision to stay put in the company or not within 6 months of their joining, and that's exactly probably why placement consultants have to sign a contract of free replacement within 3 months, 6 months or so. On the contrary, one of the reasons people said was that in the induction, if the person is not taken care of well, as in like he's not been inducted well or oriented well, the person might get lost or confused, and that could be one of the reasons why he never fits in. I totally agree with them. At the same time, it's contextual to the company. So a good retention, recall of the right aspects will take care of that particular gap of employee retention, if that's the case it is. So Amrita, is that clear? Have I answered your question properly? Okay, I don't hear from you. If yes, give me a yes on it. A yes, thanks. Perfect. I got a yes from you, so good. Move on. Feel free to ask questions. The more you ask, the more we learn. Back to my screen. Yeah. Develop an induction plan. Don't short circuit it. If you don't have an induction plan, make it first. If you don't have induction in your company, first get the induction right, then gamify it. And we used to have some situations where people used to say, "Okay, look, I want a e-security policy for my company in an e-learning way." I said, okay, where's the policy? They say, you make it. I said, fine. I don't even know what kind of a company you are, and I'm supposed to make an e-security. So content is important, and the application comes in after that. Probably on the question. Okay. Pretty nice stuff. I'm getting some good questions today, so I'll answer them right away as we go. We have Santosh asking a question here. Santosh says, what is the basic difference between the induction program in a manufacturing company versus a service sector company? Santosh, the way it goes, induction program is basically to help a person to orient himself into what you do, how you do, who you are, where you came from, and what you want him to do. That's the way I'll put it. In that case, if you're a manufacturing company or service company, the business process, a manufacturing company will talk about its factories, what business it does, and what else and what not, the content. A service company will talk about what services they offer, what service standards they maintain, and all that stuff. So any stuff relevant to your company which you want a person to know well before the person actually starts working in your company hands-on is what is covered in induction. The actual content of a company, the prime difference would be, in one there will be service delivered, in second there will be what they manufacture. Apart from that, it's all left to the company what they want to share with them. If there's any specific query you can ask me, I think otherwise I think that's the prime thing. Going ahead again. Okay. As you saw the main point here, gamify induction program cannot set right a faulty induction policy. It can only magnify it. So be very careful. If you got a monkey and you see it under a magnifying glass, what happens to you? You see a bigger monkey. So if you got a lousy induction program and you're trying to gamify it, rather lousy induction content, don't mistake my words here, content. Now, if your policy is not clear, if your leave policy is not clear, if you got a faulty leave policy, by gamifying the learning about the leave policy, does it change anything? It doesn't change anything as far as the policy goes. It changes as far as the retention goes. So it's very important to get the policies right. And then gamify it, of course. I got another question from Sukesh. What is the recommendation in respect of reinduction? Also tell me how often a reinduction is required. Sukesh, I think we love your jargon here. So I'll say reinduction is a very interesting thing. What I would recommend is run a refresher. What he's saying is reinduction. Usually, induction programs are always done at the beginning of the what do you call it as the person joining. When you gamify it, you do not need something called a defined reinduction, but there are certain modules where the person has to play the game repeatedly to up his scores. So what you're doing is you're making the person rotate through a system once again, trying to better himself or trying to better somebody else. And a lovely thing called leaderboard can be put where everybody knows, Acha, you are the best one. Let me outrace you. If some of you played Farmville on Facebook almost few years back when it's popular, you would know exactly what happens. People were so keen to go and cut the grass or grow the flowers, God knows what, eventually to get some scorings and get better than their friends or colleagues. So gaming principles allow you to don't even allow you to have a mechanism where you don't need to bother about a reinduction because the level of games keeps on increasing. Level 1, you come to the first induction. Level 2, you're able to take it up after completing 3 months. Level 3, after 6 months. So the application of the game is in such a way that the questions are also aligned accordingly. Suppose I tell you that our discipline policy is such that if you make something something, then something else happens to you. After 3 months, you might give some practical scenarios to the people where the person actually goes through a scenario based gamified process. After 6 months, application based. So, what we're doing is in the gamification process, we've set a mechanism in place where after 3 months of a joining, hi friend, you completed 3 months, here is the login password, play the game and see you can better your score. You can play it a few times, 3 times, 4 times, 6 times. So, when the person engages on him by himself or herself, you're able to better the whole outcome. So there's no need to do a formal reinduction at all because it's a constant improvement process the person goes through by engaging with the game. Hope I've answered your question. If you doubt, just ping me again. Going ahead. Cool. I think we're good. I'll share my screen with you. Yeah. Step by step approach. So, what are the few steps? Very simple, no rocket science. First of all, understand your induction needs clearly. As you saw in the poll I did with you, you have to understand what exactly are your induction needs. If you don't know your needs, gamification cannot be done. You have to know your needs, at least figure them out. After that, this is extremely critical. Some people I've come across in my past interaction with some companies said, I've got an induction program, my people are not enjoying it, I'm not getting good feedback, gamify it. Now that's not a solution. Why? Because okay, we'll gamify it for you. We are there for that purpose only. But the catch here is we have to first be clear which element has got maximum impact when delivered in person. Now, that's something we have to deliver in person. So sometimes it so happens, like you might have seen, the MD of a company wishes to meet all the inductees in person. Why does he do that? Why can't he just put a video of himself? Because he's the man who probably brought the company up, is passionate, and the very glimpse, or maybe that's the only time he meets these people. So the personal touch sometimes gives a lot of charismatic action. On the contrary, you need to learn something which need not be delivered in person. If you want to learn something about the history of a company, whether a trainer is standing and talking to me or I'm gamifying it, well, I get a better chance of gamifying it because by engaging, I'll be learning more rather than somebody blabbering few things for me on the screen. Delivered live online, yes, sometimes it so happens that you need to have a live interaction on certain programs, live demonstration of certain softwares you're using, then we should know it is live. Learn through gamification, any application where you can have a repeated chance of trying it out once, twice, thrice, and improving your score or your ability to get results of knowledge or results of skill, that has to be bang on 100% gamified. Differentiating it among these three things is important. If you're not able to differentiate, no harm. Gamify the entire thing, it's okay. But differentiating helps you to be an expert in your field. Then Once you differentiate, you map the learning needs with the gaming concepts. Like how, if I say ki, one very important thing I want is a form filling process. I got 20 online forms which a person has to fill during the induction process, can be gamified. Now what I've got is, I've got the learning need in terms of the person should learn how to fill these forms, and I want to gamify the process. Then you will be discussing with people like me, okay, these are the forms, I want this guy to fill it, make it interesting for them, show me a game. Then what we do is we ideate on your learning requirement, your organizational requirement, the concepts involved, and then we come back with themes and gaming mechanisms. Then we say, okay, fine, let's have a theme which is like this. In this theme, put this form. In the form, put this thing. Then put this, scoring mechanism, the building mechanism, and so a lot of stuff. We bring life into the particular process. Then what do? Not one life, we give you multiple scenarios. Try this, try this, try this. Then we give you proof of concept. This concept looks like this. Then you can do a beta wherein you actually deploy some of your people to check it out, how much they're enjoying. Whatever suits best for you, take a shot at it. In this line, we're something like an ad agency where people show you concepts, ads, and you choose the best one. So that element you can leave it to companies like ours, which are experts in gamification, to tell you or work with you on various ideas, concepts, thoughts, application. You need to bring in your content, what needs to be gamified. We bring in the concept, the game, the whole application, and also can manage it for you. We would be in any company like mine who's an expert in gamified learning. And then if you try to do that yourself, it's a waste of time for you. You can do it as a hobby, partner with us, join hands with us. We love to work with you. But leave it to the people. They'll come back, choose the best one, and bingo, you have it running. Evaluate themes and approaches. Like I just spoke about 10 seconds back, you evaluate themes. Okay, this theme looks good for me, but what about the inductees? Are they enjoying it, not enjoying it? Because in gamification, we've got the freedom to choose about 100 themes. There's no problem at all. And the way we go ahead as Excel Pro, we custom develop themes based upon what business you do. If you're into coal mining or diamond cutting or into jewelry making or into stock broking or into say BPO, we'll understand from you what is core to your heart. We come and understand your culture, how you work, what you do, and the games or the gamified processes are in such a way that they're in alignment with the culture of the company, and then it goes solid viral. And of course, test it. Test is not the technical testing. I don't mean test whether it functions or not. That will take care of it. Test it whether you people are actually getting the results of it or not. So if I make a gamified solution for you, test it on 20 new inductees, one another 20 inductees. So did you see a difference in the way they go about? If yes, great. If not, let's try the a different one. So testing is important, otherwise you will have something which is technically correct, practically useless. You can always put in a KRA, yes, I brought in gamified induction in my company. And what happened? My people are equally bored as they were earlier, or they're playing a game but learning nothing. That's the worst thing what can happen to you. I'll touch it in the next slides. People are enjoying the game. You take a feedback form, fill the form, excellent results. So and so is a great person, brought gamification, we're enjoying the games, we're enjoying it, getting best scores. Sab kuch badhiya hai. And what are they retaining and recalling? Nothing. Why? Because the gamified element has delinked from the actual content. Now, that is a risk you run if you engage amateurs, people who are not experts in the field. I've come across people who say, gamification, kya, hum bhi kar lenge, we'll do it. I said, do it. Then what happened? They did it. So gamification is fantastic. They went to the net, copied few games, brought them in, put it in place, and then देखो चलता है, चलता है, बहुत अच्छा है. I mean, you can go and pick up anything from the net, and then is it getting you your learning or not? That's a question. So focus on learning. Gamification should ensure better learning and better tangible learning. And since we come from an L&D background and we carry a strong strength on TNA, TE, all this stuff, we ensure, or rather, it's our responsibility to ensure that you're able to get the right results. Last, of course, development implementation has to be comprehensive, no piecemeal. So starting from a scratch of a concept to developing, implementing it has to be done. Halfway through, if you say, I got a game which runs on one computer, it doesn't serve the purpose. Little more on this one. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. It's a little theoretical, but I think you're getting the essence of what I'm talking. Learn with fun. Learning is not an option, fun is. This is what I would like to send as a message today. Gamification looks interesting, but learning is more important. Fun is an option here. If you got only fun and learn nothing, there's a problem to it. Second, excessive engaging. Now, when I do some sessions, I use a common line. Nobody ever died of knowledge overdose. till date people have died of drug overdose, food overdose, water overdose, पानी पी पी के मर गया, खा खा के मर गया, पैसा कमा कमा के मर गया. They've died from all overdoses. सोच सोच के मर गया. That also is there, but nobody has till date on the record at least died of knowledge overdose. So we take pride in that of being in the knowledge industry, and we say ऐसा तो होता नहीं है, but excessive engaging could lead to participants getting busy with the game and missing the knowledge objective. So the overdose will be of the engaging thing. Let's play, let's play, let's play. Knowledge gap. So this is what happens in a faulty gamified process where engaging is too high. People are so kicked up. And if you actually evaluate, are you playing it? Yes, you're playing it. Look at your scores. The scores are fantastic. Look at your track sheets. People are engaging themselves. But look at the learning results. Gone. This is the biggest risk you run if you engage into gaming very heavily without linking the learning part. So this is the essence I want to give you today, because gaming, a dime a dozen companies do gaming. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. I mean to say in a very philosophical way. If you really want to create something for fun, okay, Angry Birds, let's play, let's kill ourselves playing Angry Birds till the end of our life. It's all enjoyed, but the agenda is clear. We are there for fun. But if Angry Birds is supposed to teach me parabola and hyperbola, I've got a problem with it, because I also have to ensure that the mechanism of parabola is clearly given over there, or a projectile motion. I don't know if you notice this, but using Angry Birds, you can learn projectile motion in a beautiful way. Tomorrow, if you want to shoot a missile, you might be an expert using Angry Birds. That's the way it is. But it's not a part of Angry Birds. You can use it for doing that. Right amount is important, as I said, and very, 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 very critical point. I hope my screen is on. Yeah, my screen is on. Yeah. Use non-addictive game options only. Engaging is important, addiction is a problem. If you use a gaming concept like a Farmville or an Angry Birds, you are ready for disaster, because the each of the person to constantly focus or repeatedly play, whether he needs it or not, is going to be very high. It is going to be an overdose which takes away the focus from the core attention. It has to be engaging but limited engaging. So you play it for a few times, you engage it, you get something, you're happy with it, and you like to move to the next level. So this is why we bring in levels and themes. So after a person has completed one level, the next level is a different theme or a concept where the person enjoys being at that level and would not want to come down. Like what? Like this. Any of you who's been to karate, judo, taekwondo kind of a classes in childhood, you start off with a, a, a very bland looking white belt just to tie your pajamas around. And then what happens? You get a little yellow belt and you're happy about it. Then green, blue, or all sorts of colors come, brown comes in. And then one fine day, you're awarded a black belt, first Dan. Then so happy about it. But do you want to talk about the day you had a yellow belt or a blue belt or a green belt? No, you don't. So that's why after becoming a black belt first degree, you want to go to the black belt second degree. So what a person does is always looking at the one up thing and not too bothered about going and doing something in the one down thing. So addiction can be cut across by creating levels of that nature, which we do it for our clients normally. Very critical. Map level of engagement and theme with the caliber of new journeys. This is one very interesting experience I had some time back, where a particular client wanted a very engaging, involving multiple controls, consoles, and all sort of stuff into the thing to create a gamified concept. We did that, but the audience was a group of people who were not actually very educated, and many of them were using computers sparingly. What did we have? They were trying to figure out what is happening, and figuring out itself was a game for them. They were randomly clicking, pressing something, and too much of engaging options messed up the whole thing. So, depending upon the thought process, if you're using senior management, people are using gamification for senior management, use engaging strategic concepts. If you're using it for youngsters, bubbly 20s people, use mechanisms where like a cricket or a Ferrari, or what I'm going to say is something which is very active, moving very fast on the screen, and some scoring is happening, some action happening. Themes have to be built that way. Not to worry, this is not your job, we'll do it for you, or people like us will do it for you. The idea is you should be aware what you're expecting. Path forward. uh, Let me just take a quick look. Before that, I might have missed out on a particular query to ask you. Let me check it out. Okay, I'm curious to know one thing, so I'll run a quick poll. Most of you, all of you said you're not using gamification for induction. So I've taken a view that we are starting from the scratch and I'm doing a very fundamental level thought process moving forward. However, I would like to just take a quick check here using a poll. The poll is on. Have you implemented gamified learning processes apart from induction in any element of your company? Be comfortable. Yes to yes, no to no, thinking, I don't know, I don't know. It's your personal opinion. That was fast. I think almost all of you voted. Another 5 seconds and we can move on. Good. I think I got almost all of you on board. Pretty interesting. Okay, I think one or two, a couple of you are still voting. Great. I think I got it. I close the poll and I share the results. Take a look at this. 16% of you said yes, 66 says no, 16 considering, 3% I don't know. So fundamentally, this is the way it is when I deal with the market also here, because in India we are waking up to gamification and we are waking up fast. So those of you who are saying no today, probably the next 1 year you all might turn into yes or considering, because the speed at which it's catching up is great. The whole idea is to get it right. The reason I'm doing the webinar for you is mostly gamification starts with induction or a business simulation or a process simulation, but the idea is to get it right, because if we get it wrong, वो मजा नहीं है, चलता नहीं है. That's what happens. So to avoid the situation, you should know what to expect from people, what to deliver, and so on and so forth. Good show. I'll go back, share my screen again. So gamified induction is not a off-the-shelf solution. So it might be something you're taking as a part of your gamified process. You might have more gamification happening, and apart from that, that story apart, gamified induction should ensure, rather should be taken in such a fashion that you are not trying to say कि let me pick up, okay ये theme अच्छा है, let me take this theme चिपका onto my company. Not like that. Your belief in gamification to make a change for your company has to be very, very high, and ensure continuous improvisation upgrades. So today, tomorrow, whenever you're dealing with a company which is doing gamification for you, ensure that there are multiple levels built into it, multiple upgrades built into it. The question is not what now, what next. Because whenever you play something, except when you're playing cricket or teen patti on cards, you tend to get bored after some time. And we don't use intend to use teen patti here. So one day you either will get bored or you want to try something more. So the element of levels or upgrades have to be built into it. Change themes, because we can't upgrade regularly. Change the themes. I'll show you a sample right now on how it works out. Track progress. You've done a great job on gamification, but if you don't score, control this, check the scores, track the progress, put your graphs, know what's happening, it's useless. It's good to play and good for nothing. It's like gully cricket. You play every day, bang your head, bang the wickets, come back home, sleep. Next day morning, you're back in the gully. You go nowhere. But if you play in a proper field, somebody's keeping track of your scores, and one fine day, you never know. You might be playing in one career. Very important element, roll out in levels. Levels. Don't try to say, okay, I got gamification, bang on, take it and roll it out. Levels. You have to roll out level one first, as in like take one small module. Even if you're taking gamified induction, I always recommend people that take a small part of induction and convert it into a gamified process, allow it to be absorbed. They will demand more. They will come with corrections, changes, modifications. Try out. That way, what happens, you get a lot of scope to try out new things, modify, work, improve, put in new concepts, etc. Always roll out in multiple levels. That was fast. Okay. So with this note, I've given you 4 points. There are 5 points here which you have to ensure. You need to ensure this as the L&D professionals or HR professionals or business owners before you, or rather while you're implementing your gamified process, induction process. Yes. I'd actually put a poll on this one, and I was expecting how come the question has not come until now. And Sumita, kudos to you. That's a question. What is the cost involved in the gamified induction? If you don't ask the question, you're sleeping. We're all Indians. कितना देती है और कितने की है, these two things we don't ask, then मजा नहीं आया, but now मजा आ गया. Good. So my question is, how much do you think it costs? If I ask this question, now nobody will answer me. Take a shot, type in a text box. You've not used text box till now, most of you. Type in a text box and give me a hint how, because you're not using gamification, I know that. So it's been opinions. I'm pretty cool with it. I'll give you the facts. Let me understand from you in some opinions in terms of how much do you think gamified induction implementation costs? A broad outline. Punch in any figures. You don't need to pay it right now, so feel free. Be my guest. Francis, you'll kill my business if that's the price you're talking about. I'm a dead man tomorrow. Sumita, it's okay. Take a shot. You're not sure about it. I mean, we are enjoying our time right now. So it's pretty cool to say, okay, it costs about 10, 20,000 rupees or 10 lakh rupees. Feel good. Nitish, it doesn't cost. The cost would be the price you to pay a company like mine to develop it for you. Or if your team is doing it in-house, the cost as in like the cost of involving them into it for doing it. Okay, I got some figures. Amrita says 1 to 2 lakhs. Sumita says 500 rupees per inductee. Sumita, I would love to work with a company. I'll be millionaire soon. Neha Oja says 20K. Neha, 20K में आजकल ट्रेनर नहीं मिलता है. 40 for a single game. Jayashree says that. Okay, Zarna, is gamified induction same for all types of industry? No, not same Zarna, but development. I mean, the cost of doing it for you. If you have to, if your company wishes to develop, get something work developed on this note, if you want to have gamified induction, you have to get it developed. So what's the cost? Okay, I got a lot of answers here. Pretty good. Okay, perfect. Now on that note, I just asked you to take a shot. I was not expecting right answers because that's not your field, not your space. We're not connecting on it. So we will not, I'll not ask you, rather I'll tell you. What I'm going to tell you is that one, after you got your content in place, that's the induction content in place. Okay, this is the content which I wanted to be gamified, right? Then the the process of converting the content into a gamified solution using animation, graphics, scripting, code, all that stuff, and convert it into an e-learning game. That's what we do. And then view matlab anybody does that, and then hosting it up, which is basically can be done on your computer or a server, etc. That whole works of making it work, the minimum cost for you for running a very small, simple game for a very small, simple process will be around 50,000 rupees, a one-time fee. And it goes up to around, say, 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. It goes on and on. Those are the figures which we see in the international market. Domestic market, if you talk of gamified induction, the cheapest option you can have, which is a very small part of induction, which is gamified for you, can run for about, say, half an hour or so as a complete engagement process, will cost you anywhere between 50,000 rupees for very simple minimal animation, minimal scripting, more engagement kind of a thing, and can go up to anywhere around 5 to 10 lakhs. That's the kind of a limit we have got. Now that's the minimum most, and usually nothing crosses 5, 7, 8. That's the kind of a range which a normal gamified induction process takes. But if you've got some major simulations in your company, you've got a business simulation, etc. See, when you go to a saree shop, there's always a more costly saree and there's always a better mousetrap. So when you're going to buy a better, if I want a gold-plated, diamond-studded mousetrap, I mean, I'll be paying in crores. So to serve your purpose, anything around 1 to 3 lakhs is what's the kind of budget you can look at. On that note, I hope I answered your question thoroughly. If you feel the answer was appropriate, you got your answers, give me a show of hands. If you have a query, text box. Charuta, I will not send you a demo. I will show you a demo. The program is not over yet. I save the best for the last. So I thought I'll ask you questions and then I'll show you a little demo and I'll give you the login access also. Sumita, half an hour. 50K is the minimum for half an hour. 1 hour 50K, you'll kill the partner. Good. So now this is where we halt this process. What we do next is interesting. This is my screen back again. Okay. What I'll do now, see, gamifying works in wonderful ways. We got hundreds of games we made, a lot of action happening. I can't share them with you. Most of them would be uh, okay. Before that, there's few more questions coming in. Okay, Ramraj, you could have spoken to people in the webinar, but I have muted all your microphones for a simple reason. There are close to 100 participants right now, and I can't give access to one to the other, so I cannot do that right now. And does reward and awards at the end of induction will increase the performance, Nidish? Yes, rewards and awards, 100%. That's what gaming is all about. One of the things gaming is about, it increases. And no, no, it increases. It increases. 100% increases if engaged well, if deployed well, because rewards recognition is very important, and that's why in some companies they ask us to create an API to post the scores on Facebook and such things. Okay, good. It's not just feel good. Feel good is a part of it. You get feel good free. Good. Great. We'll take some more questions. Before that, what I'll do is, since we're running short of time, let me take you through a little sample I can show you right now. It goes. What I've done, I've taken a very basic sample because most of, or rather, some of you are using Photon and all sorts of stuff in the for the net. So if I use anything with a higher animation, you might not be able to access it using your bandwidth. I'm just taking a generic view. So I'm going to show you a little game right now, or the game-based induction, and tell you what's all about. The audio has been removed from this file just to ensure that the file plays well. It's a typical demo I've got, which is one of the bare bones basic demos. So what have we done here? I think all of you can see my screen right now. Let me take a look. Yes, my screen is on. If you look at this thing, there's a screen, there's an opening landing page. And what we're talking about is gamified induction, some stuff, but more importantly, we are saying there are about 5 levels. So what we've done here in this particular example, not all inductions are like this. This is one of the hundreds of examples we've got here. So there are 5 levels you're supposed to cross before you reach the level of saying, yes, I've been inducted well. So there's an instruction, there's an exit. So I can put my name here. So I'm going to put my name and I submit it. Bingo, a screen opens. Now, this particular game is designed using the theme of a normal induction. So if I walk into your company and want to get inducted tomorrow, what happens? I walk into your reception area. This is what it is. So level 1 here, as you can follow my cursor, don't get distracted by the graphics. Reception area is level 1. In the reception area, there's something we're going to teach you. Then there's a conference room or a meeting room here, which is locked right now because you can't go there till you cross the reception area stuff. Then after that, normally what happens in a conference room, sessions happen, the training happens, and you go for lunch, right? After lunch, you're shown your work area. This is where you sit, and this is where your colleagues are. And in the evening, you're taken to meet your boss and the super boss, and he asks you, "So, my friend, how was your day? What's it like? Come, welcome to the company," and so on and so forth. We've taken that line of thought, and we said level 1 is reception. Level 2, follow my cursor. Follow my cursor here. Level 2 is a conference room where people are seated. Level 3 is your what we call as a lunch room. Level 4 is a work area, and level 5 is the top man's cabin. And what have we done? We have divided all the modules, what have we taught in a particular e-learning program, and divided them and placed in multiple areas. So in the reception, you can learn a few things about the company, generally about the company. In the conference room, you learn about the policies. Lunch area, you learn about benefits, facilities, good things, picnics, parties, and all that stuff kind of thing. In the work area, what assets are allocated to you, what is not allocated to you, who is your colleagues, who are your friends, the org chart, and the boss's cabin, he takes a test, he takes a quiz. Now that he asks you questions, supposed to answer in a gaming way. If you don't, bang on, come back for induction tomorrow again. Another, repeat it. That's how the mechanism is given. So let's start the process. So you're told that this is your avatar, this is you. If you're a lady, we can give you a lady theme also. At the same time, if you see here, there's some people and there's a receptionist, there's man standing, some trophies here, people sitting, security guard, vision. Mr. Sharma, the founder's photo is here, right? And these are the same people. All these guys are in the reception. This guy, you find him here. This man, you find him here. They are given here. So why? Let's play. Instructions. What you required to do? Okay, I got a query here. Is there a problem? Ramraj, question is Gamified and Interactive can conduct it through webinar. This webinar, Ramraj, is on helping you understand what is gamified learning. But you cannot do you cannot do gamified learning a webinar because the person has to engage, the person has to interact. So I'm engaging right now to show you this demo, and the link will be given to you to play and experience yourself. So engaging is important. On a webinar you cannot do a gamified webinar as such. Webinar is a seminar online. Going ahead, drag and drop your avatar in the reception. That's what you see here. So what you'll be doing when I give the access to you, you'll be holding this guy and dragging him. Oops, what have I done? I have not taken him to the reception. I've dropped him somewhere. So what happens here? My score falls by 5, and I'm told to drag him here. I drag him here. Good. Now you have your mouse on the reception to ask her a question. So this game tells me, take her there. Now what she says, look, my friend, I'm not free. I don't just chat. Pay 5 points to ask a question. So I have to pay 5 points here, and I can ask any of the three questions. I'm a new joinee. Can I meet the HR manager? Q2, good morning. This is my first day job. I'm a new joinee. Where's the conference room? Now, the gamifying is done in such a way that we have also taken an element of office etiquette into it extra. That's not a part of our thing, but we are also touching about the etiquette part. So, the person, what he asks here, defines what the person does. Now, the moment I chose question two, good, you got 5 points. I gained 5 points again. Drag and drop it avatar on the sofa. Now, she's saying, please be seated. So, I have to take him and place him onto the sofa. Wait 5 minutes. Why not brush upon the knowledge about a new office? Hover your mouse on the vision statement to know about the company's vision. So what I do is now I can ask. These are my extra support mechanisms. The same people are here. If I have to talk to the receptionist, 5 points. Talk to this guy, 10 points. Talk to this guy, 15 points. So there's a whole gaming mechanism here. Now what I do is I go to Mr. Sharma's photo. I like his face and I say, "Who are you, Mr. Sharma? You simple founder here." So what he says, what the photo says, pay 5 points. If you pay 5 points, you can talk to me. You play with me and you can gain 30 points. I'll say play. This is how the scene plays. This is how the scene plays, and some learning is given to you. Then we skip it. Immediately, what happens? There's a quiz to be taken. Now, if I get it right, I get my score up. I've already told you these things, so wrong. I made a mistake. Bingo. This was told to me. Again, wrong. Gone. Operation, wrong. I'm making mistakes deliberately. So what happened? My score has gone down. Now I have to go back and try to learn about him again. The way you can see it here, I can go here, play vision. So what I'm doing is I've given a mechanism where I will not give you something free. Pay 5 points, but you can gain 30 points. That's the kind of mechanism. You can click on trophies here, pay 5 points, gain 15 points. Now watch the fun. I'm getting bored. I've done all this stuff, and I say, look, this guy, he seems to be the boss here. Let me impress him. Let me talk to him. So I go and talk to him. Good morning, sir. Nice to meet you. When will our induction class begin? I'm talking to him. Now I have a query to all of you. In the text box, click on the question. Give me Q1, Q2, Q3. What do you want to ask him? In your text box, since it's a simulation, I'll give it to you to play it from tomorrow onwards. You can do it yourself. Right now, what should I click? One, two, or three? Okay. It's okay, randomly, anything, whatever you feel like. But remember, there's a googly to it. What I'll do is to ensure, I think Amrita and JShree says two. So I'll go with Amrita and JShree. I click two. Wrong person. You lose 10 points for disturbing him. Click on someone else. This is a googly in the game. You see a busy man and a manages this thing. We're not supposed to disturb him. So we're going to disturb him. We lost it. So what have we done? In a reception area, this is a game where you can leave the reception only after you complete. As you can see here, actions pending. This has to be completed. How will this be completed? Now watch it carefully. In this mechanism, we got people to talk to here to guide you. But importantly, you are here to learn the vision of the company, about the founder when he founded it, what are the trophies and what are the awards the company has won, right? About the brochures, what the company sells or serves. These are the things. Every time you touch on this one, you click on it, that learning module runs, you take a quiz, and you're supposed to increase your score. And the moment you complete that process, action pending goes. Once it is completed, the manager will come and take you to the next room, and similar actions are there. So you'll have instructions, you'll have game mechanisms, you'll have scores. Now, if I leave you to play this, you'll be figuring out, trying out, and you'll enjoy the whole experience. So what I'm going to do now is interesting. We're going to place this onto our LMS, and we're going to give login access to any of you who wish to. We don't want to just randomly send it to all of you because there are, I think, almost 100 of you there. Reply to the mails I've sent you, you received from us, requesting for a login. If you like this demo and would like to experience a demo, we'll give you the login and password unique for you for a week. You can feel free to access it using it, enjoy the experience. It is one of the many samples we have created. And when we give it to a company, we don't sell it as it is. We customize the e-learning for them. If you want it, you can purchase, no doubt about it. But there are a million ways it can be done. This has been this is a demo we created keeping the normal induction theme in mind. So this is how it is. So at this note, I think I'm almost at the fag end of my program today. So give me let me come back to this. Yeah, those of you who've got any queries or any questions on gamified induction process or how gamification is done, feel free to ask me anything. I'm free to take questions right now. And if you don't have any questions, give me a show of hands. That will tell me you're a happy person today. Thanks, Rajnikant. I'm glad you enjoyed the session. Uh, Charuta, you say hi, so I say hi to you. If there's any question, tell me. Yeah, you're not able to view participants. Okay, now because participants from multiple companies are there, you cannot view each other. All of you can hear me and talk to me, and that's why that access is not available right now. However, the entire recording of this webinar is placed on a webcast immediately. So probably tomorrow you can access the webcast on the website, and access to this game can be provided to you if you make a request. It's free of cost. There's no charge. Just send a mail. Can you send us an LMS login? It's across to you. How the departments can be put in the induction. Sumita, depend upon your induction requirement, we will create the departments in theme. This is just one of the themes I'm sharing with you. If you have got departments to be department-wise induction, we'll create a theme in those lines for you. Great. So I'll keep it on for another 5, 10 more seconds. I think we are almost good to go. Okay. Well, thank you very much for participating with me today. Hope you enjoyed the session. This is Ashwini Kota signing off from Bangalore, back into my business now. And I look forward to connecting with you. Write to us with any queries, thoughts, discussion boards. We're always free to connect on gamification. We're passionate about it. And look forward to meeting you sometime in future. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.